You think I haven't factored these things into my argument, by the way? This is what I've been talking about for the past year at this point, since Donald Trump started talking about these tariff initiatives. I feel like everything that's happening is something you agree with, but because it's Trump, you don't like it. Are you stupid? Wait, what? Socialism is a joke. It's not real. That's literally what's happening. I'm confused. Who wouldn't want this? I feel like everything that's happening is something you agree with, but because it's Trump, you don't like it. Yeah, dude. I don't actually want socialism. I just want rich people's stock portfolio to dip a little bit in the short term as they recover and consolidate wealth further as the working poor get shafted. Who needs socialism? My anger and resentment was directly towards rich people like Barstool's very own Dave Porkboy losing $10 million of value for the first week and then recovering in spectacular fashion. That's what I wanted. Yeah, my eyes are not on the prize of uplifting all working class individuals around the world and certainly in the United States of America. It's not about that at all. It's just like over the rich for a brief period of instability as the working class loses their jobs in a period of stagnation, in a period of mass layoffs and an affordability crisis like nothing you've ever seen before. What do you mean? The reason why I don't like the things that are happening right now is because they're stupid. There's no better way to describe it than that word. I know it sounds reductive, but the reality is that's how Trump moves. He moves stupid like. He moves in a stupid fashion. You can't do trade protectionism if there's no trade to protect at the domestic front. You can't break something before building the underlying basis for why you are breaking the global trade agreements. It's idiotic. That's why even people like Bernie Sanders, who were opponents of NAFTA and were long-standing defenders of American manufacturing and stood proudly against free trade, are literally also saying the same thing, where they're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? This is so dumb. The strats are about shafting those profiting from taking advantage of consumers who are the workers to begin with. What are you saying, dude? You're so stupid. Every goddamn MAGA supporter is just too dumb to have a conversation with. Yeah, dude. You know who was shafting the American working class? Not the capital owners, but third world slaves, dude. The Indonesian cotton mill worker was the one who was you over. You absolute moron. You baboon. How can I have a normal conversation with you when you go, you know who's really the American working class? Not the American capital owners that willingly, voluntarily, and excitedly moved manufacturing overseas so that we could literally use and abuse the third world, the global south. But it's actually the Bangladeshi worker himself. That's who me over. You are the biggest delusional moron of all time. Holy I can't have a normal conversation with you because you're too stupid to have a conversation with. What am I supposed to say to this? Oh my God. Jesus Christ, dude. Your disgusting, fat Ameripig ass was able to get affordable treats in perpetuity at the backs of slave labor. That's what we did. That's the global marketplace. That's quite literally what happened in perpetuity. And now Trump's like, actually, that's not good. We have to enslave our own domestic labor force, I guess, or whatever the they're planning to do, because no one knows what they're planning to do, because what these decisions they're making are so stupid because there's no underlying manufacturing base to actually improve, to actually do any sort of output that will be competitive with the global trade scheme that we have designed that once again has enslaved the global south so that you can eat a $5 jalapeno popper, you fat correct, it's the decision makers, the corporate decision makers and capital class, like you said. That's not, Trump is a real estate billionaire. His entire administration is filled to the brim with parasitic monsters. Are you that stupid that you think he's not working at the behest of capitalists? Are you dumb? The idea is to make it competitive. How? Do you have a factory that I was oblivious to? Is there a factory in your backyard? Have you already hired and trained tens of thousands of workers? Is that what's going to happen? Are you going to ensure that they have their collective bargaining rights? Because Donald Trump just undermined the collective bargaining rights of 1.5 million federal workers just last week. It is not the manufacturing jobs that people desire. It's well-paid jobs that people desire. It's benefits that people desire. They don't give a if you're working in a factory or a goddamn Starbucks barista. It's about how much money you make in the process. It's about being able to own a home. It's about being able to have upward social mobility for your children. It's about an upward trajectory for the American working class. It's about being able to go to college for free. It's about being able to have healthcare for free. These are the things that people desire, not some fantasy about sewing socks in a goddamn moldy ass factory for 35 cents. That's not the dream. It doesn't matter what the manufacturing or the services that you offer are. That does not matter. That is completely irrelevant to this conversation. People are not like, oh, there's a lot of honesty and a lot of work in getting black lung at the coal mine. No, it's because those are supposed to be the good paying jobs. The fantasy of going back to the 1965 standard of being able to have a family with two parents, okay, a two-parent household where only one parent works, and that's enough to get by. That's enough for you to get a house. That's enough for you to get a car. That's enough for you to have 2-3 children, okay? That's enough for you to take some time off work, go travel elsewhere. I don't know, go to Galveston, Texas, or where the you're going to go to meet your inbred cousins, okay? That's the dream. The dream isn't to just simply work in a factory and then things will fix themselves. That's not how it goes. You're not going to work in a factory, you lazy piece of shit. Shut the fuck up. There are empty factories everywhere and people want to work. Remember how base Detroit used to be? Oh my God. Oh my God. There are empty factories everywhere. I didn't realize that you could just restart manufacturing in a factory that has been accruing dust for 3 decades. I didn't realize. How did I not think of that? There are so many empty factories because it's that simple. You just go back to the empty factory and you're like, okay, empty factory, no more. What are you saying? These are dilapidated buildings collecting dust. You can't just restart industry like that. Oh my God. Thank you for saying I'm hot. But it makes me so mad when people make these stupid ass decisions, these stupid ass statements. You can't just, you think I haven't factored these things into my argument, by the way? This is what I've been talking about for the past year at this point, since Donald Trump started talking about these tariff initiatives. Industry is being industrious, you know? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. These people unironically think they could just like manifest like The Secret, a robust manufacturing hub here in the United States of America after literal multiple decades. This is before we even factor in automation and what that has done to global manufacturing in general in terms of the labor force and the labor participation in manufacturing across the board. You don't know anything. How am I supposed to have a conversation with you? The worst part about it is the closest that we've ever arrived at like rebuilding American manufacturing is unironically still stunted because it's stunted by the lack of vision inside of the neat little confines of neoliberalism. The closest we arrived at rebuilding manufacturing in this country was not Donald Trump's tariffs initiative. It was actually Joe Biden with his CHIPS Act. And the irony there is it's once again another failure because it does not meet the necessity of the time to actually rebuild a robust infrastructure to make America a manufacturing hub of the planet, because it's still stunted by the private-public partnership that the government holds on to because they're capitalist morons. Oh my God. I've said this already. Even if the United States of America actually was serious and all of a sudden got hit with the Marxist-Leninist beam, okay, and every single one of our leaders was like, we need to do central planning, Chinese style, okay, it would still take at least a decade to build this robust hub of industry. You can't just like close your eyes and wish that there's a factory that you can use. That's not how this works. It takes years and years to build. It takes years and years of training too. That is also before we factor in the obvious issues. The obvious issues that is there are already a ton of jobs, and jobs are fake to begin with. Just make fake jobs. Who gives a okay? But there's already existing jobs. The problem is not that Americans don't have jobs. 23% underemployment in this country is criminal. It's that all the jobs that are available are shit. They're gig economy jobs. They don't offer you steady pay. It's unsustainable. The issue is wealth disparity. The issue is that the existing jobs that we have do not allow us to be able to pay for rent, do not allow us to overcome the fear that if you lose said job, you are not going to be able to pay for your health care. God forbid something horrible happens. These are the real issues. It's not about some fantasy about being able to rebuild factories, because what good would that do if there is no labor power and no union participation in this process? So the jobs that are readily available are still offering you $7 an hour to go sew socks at a goddamn factory. You're in that process. The problem still persists. You still can't pay your landlord. You still can't pay for health care. Everything is so goddamn expensive now because it's being made in the United States of America. It sucks. Neoliberalism sucks, but we're talking about global markets and the mechanics they go off of. You're not wrong about the challenges. No, of course I'm not wrong about the challenges. You're just responding to the stock market, responding to the instability and going, but that's a good thing because rich people get fucked over in the short term. But they don't. They don't get fucked over. Wealth is relative, okay? They get fucked over and they lose a big chunk of their wealth, but you losing $10,000 is infinitely more consequential than Aiden Ross losing $10 million. Do you understand? You losing $10,000 to $35,000 from your 401k is infinitely more consequential to your life because it adds additional years to your retirement plan where you won't be able to retire at 65, 66, let alone 68. Whereas Aiden Ross can retire tomorrow. It doesn't matter if he loses $10 million or not today. He's going to make that up tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Breaking. Oil prices fall below 57 for the first time since February 2021 as markets pricing a global recession. Great. Now oil prices are going down at least, so that's good. Yeah, why is it going down? Because they know demand is going to go down. That's the reason. Hasan, I need this clip because as a labor organizer, you'd be shocked at how many rank and file dipshits actually believe what this guy is saying word for word. I mean, look, things are so dire that I understand why a shakeup, that's the reason why they voted for Trump, okay? That's the reason why so many rank and file labor union members voted for Donald Trump. Because they're like, this system that has been designed has fucked me over in perpetuity. So let's break it. After all, if we break it, the alternative can't be as bad as what I've experienced thus far. The irony, of course, is that Trump is not breaking it and then rebuilding it so that it's a little bit better for you. Trump is just simply breaking it and making it worse for you overall. That's the sad state of affairs. And I think because there is no counterbalance, because there's no rudder, there is no moral compass, there is no guidance from any sort of like alternative vision of how to rebuild society, because the alternative vision is, like I said, neoliberalism from the Democratic Party, who also want to unleash the markets, the freer the markets, the freer the people. Because of that, people are just going to be even more resentful, even more volatile. And the things that they will grab onto is even more reactionary sentiment. This is why not having an effective counterbalance is incredibly dangerous. Not having effective counter messaging is incredibly dangerous in an unstable, treat-the-right society like the United States of America. We're in the beginning, baby steps of the Trump shakeup, the liberation. Roads in many countries aren't wide enough for Ford F-150s. Non-trade tariff barrier right there. I've been saying this. I've been saying this for so long. I've been saying it nonstop. 60% now disapprove of his handling of the economy. Huge drop since his inauguration, and 55% of independents have an unfavorable view of the tariffs. I always, whenever I visit Europe, you know what I think to myself? Oh, thousands of years of architecture and city planning that was designed for walkability in mind at the time because they simply did not have cars. We should pave it and turn it into a massive highway. That's what we should do. That's what I think. I always think, Europe is fine, but you know what would make it better? If it was just one big parking lot. We should turn Europe into Dallas, okay? We should turn every major European city into Dallas. We will not stop until every major European city is Dallas. Hell yeah, baby.